Episode 139, How to Build a Case Study and Amplify It When You're Done.
Welcome to the PR Playbook Podcast, the only podcast giving you actionable skills and advice you need to execute a strategic PR program. Warning: what you hear next may lead to brand awareness and increased sales and customer exposure. Now here's your host, Rinjini Joshua.
Hello, welcome to episode 139. Sorry for the short break. Had some personal issues come up, and sometimes we have to take time for those. But today we are going to be talking about how to build a case study and how to amplify it when you're done with it. There's so many reasons to build a customer case study, specifically validation and proof points for future customers, but it also builds brand equity, brand awareness. You can also use it for press releases. So a case study is an amazing marketing tool that you can leverage for public relations, which is why we actually also help our customers do case studies and get those completed. Now, I always tell people when you're talking to customers, entering new customer relationships, try to get some of this PR, case study, marketing materials kind of wedged into the contract so that there's no surprises later. Give your customer the intention that you are going to probably do some kind of public relations or marketing with them, or you'd like to in the future. That's an extra bonus for them, but it also gives you a more of a reason to excel at what you're doing in your relationship with them. So I think it gives them a little bit more confidence as well. So I think having this plan up front when you're talking to a customer is a great way to show them that you're invested. And then also you could say, well, also, we have these case studies from previous clients. So other customers or clients have been invested in giving them case studies as well. It just kind of helps the whole situation. So, first of all, identifying a case study is probably the first thing that you need to do. You can't necessarily do this when you first start a relationship. So you have to kind of wait about, I would say, 3 to 4 months, or when you get some solid milestone results from that initial work that you're doing with that customer. So wait till you get those results. Make sure that you have an established and positive relationship with that client. And when you start seeing it, and usually for us, it's kind of like, oh, hey, we're getting all these great results. This would be a great case study of this particular thing that we do. Obviously in PR, it's like, oh, this is a great media relations case study, or this is a great crisis management case study, or this is a great case study in reputation building. So you can identify, it doesn't have to be all of your services. It could be a specialized part of your services, or it could be all of your services in one. So identify what case study that you want this to be. The next thing that we do is we build a set of questions specific to that particular case. So you can always have a template to work off of, and then you can adjust the questions as you need to. So make sure that your questions are really specific. Then I either for us, we are the PR agency that helps interview the client. So you can get your PR agency or your marketing person or yourself to interview the client and kind of go over the questions you don't have the answers to. So you probably have answers to milestones and data and the overall success, but you want to dig in to get a little bit more into their brain. If you can get this on video, that's awesome. And sometimes they're open to doing a video case study. But if you, at the least, you can do a question Q&A session via Zoom or Google Meets or whatever, and ask them these critical questions of, why they selected you, why they loved your product or service, for the benefit of you guys improving your services in the future. You might want to ask what they would like to see improved. And that could be something that you maybe leave out of the case study overall. But, ask them to dig into the deeper questions of why they feel that the relationship was successful, and then the metrics of what exactly resulted. So you want to have those metrics. And if you create infographics or data, the bigger the numbers, the better. If they're small numbers, you can actually manipulate them to sound different. So, let's say the number is like 10, but previously the number was 0. Well, that's 1000% return. So, you could play with these numbers a little bit to make them benefit you. And then people don't typically ask for extreme detail. They just want to know that the customer is happy and the relationship was successful. I mean, that's really what it is. It's additional validation. So make sure you grab those answers and then create the story out of there in the next step. And what we typically like to do is if we do interview a client, we'll do a press release if they're open to doing a press release. Now, some customers are not open to doing press releases because that is a formal announcement that you have an agreement. And sometimes they want to keep their proprietary things a secret, or they want to keep their special sauce a secret. And you might be part of that special sauce. So what you can do is just say, hey, we're going to produce this case study. We're going to put it on our website. Or do you mind if our media team pitches this as an example? And so they might be open to doing interviews about it to get them brand visibility, but maybe they don't necessarily want to do a press release about it. So that could be an option too. And then you obviously put together the case study, the who, what, when, where, why of what happened in that case, and then create a couple of assets that support it. So have a couple of images, maybe a graphic on data if data is relevant to that particular case study. And then I would definitely put it on your website. If you are not allowed to publish it on your website, maybe you can use it for email marketing. You can use it for proactive media pitching, and you could use it for customer referrals or references when someone asks you, a new potential client asks you for a reference. So those are the various ways that you might want to use that case study. Then you have this amazing piece that's been approved. I would always float the case study by the customer just so they could check it out and see. And you can even just give it to them as an FYI. Just say, hey, we finished our case study. If in case you wanted to see it, here it is. You're not really getting approval from them, right? You've already gotten the green light to make the case study. You don't need to get approval from them. That's really your marketing material. And then from there, like I said, you can do a blog post, a press release in the best case scenario. But if you can't, then you can do a proactive pitch angle, reaching out to vertical markets or business markets, depending on what the case study is about. And then I would also try to enlist the spokesperson or your contact from that client to maybe do media interviews if they'd be open to or interested in doing media interviews. So as you can see, there's a lot of different ways that you can maybe use a case study. I'll make sure to write this all in our blog so you have it handy and can kind of review how to build that case study and how to amplify it when you're finished. I hope this was helpful. As always, you can always send questions my way, Ranjini at the Silver Telegram. And just as an FYI, you can join our DIY PR for Startups group. We have a newsletter on LinkedIn. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, please join the newsletter group. I produce newsletters every Friday. And we're going to be having a teachable session a teachable course, that'll be coming out at the end of this month. So stay tuned for the teachable course. It will give you all the juicy little tidbits and details of how to do PR in your organization, and pretty much the same style as this podcast, but with lots more detail and lots more tips and lots more access to myself to help you out and get you moving on your PR goals. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time.